Good morning. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. First of all, happy Engineers Day to all of you, the upcoming engineers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Why are you laughing? You are pursuing BTech, so obviously after 2 years you are becoming an engineer. So
Yes, sir. Yes,
you have to congratulate all of you.
yes, sir.
Okay. Uh,
Happy Indians Day to you too, sir.
Thank you, thank you,
You are already engineer, sir.
thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Don't think that only those are pursuing their career in IT sector or other core engineering fields. They are only engineers. We are also engineers. They are engineers by profession. We are engineers by our degree. Although we are not doing core engineering jobs, still we are engineers. Okay, all of we are
Yes,
engineers. So today is our day, and from 12, I think there is a meeting to celebrate the Engineers Day. So all of you have to join. Okay, after this class, I think the link has been shared to all of you. Yes,
yes, sir. In group. Yeah.
so all of you have to join.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
we are going to celebrate a short meeting. Okay, uh, and be a proud engineer. Okay, let me share my screen first. Then this one. Is my screen is visible?
yes, sir. It is.
Okay. Have you go through the topics we have discussed yesterday? DFA, transition graph. Yes or no? Have you go through it? No response from anyone. Hello? Am I audible or not?
Yes, sir, you audible.
Okay. Have you go through the topic which we have discussed yesterday? The transition graph. Hello? What happened? No response from anyone? Prosanjit?
Hello.
Prosanjit, can you hear me? And
Sir, sir, clear क्या आना है?
শুনিছানে নাই এতিয়া?
हाँ sir, होना पाहिजे.
The Prosanjit, you just tell me why we need transition graph.
Hello.
Tell me why we need transition graph.
Sir, to interpret for flowchart.
Flowchart. Neha, Neha, are you there? Can you tell me why we need a transition graph? Your voice is not coming. Neha.
Hello?
Yes.
The transition graph to state और करने लगे ना
Be loud and clear. And from the next class, you have to switch on your video. Okay. When we are discussing something without sharing my screen, you have to switch on your video. From the next class. So join accordingly in the class so that you can switch on your video. Luknu, why we need transition graph? Luknu, are you there? Jitul,
Hello, sir.
yes. Okay, can you tell me why we need transition graph?
So that we can determine the transition steps, that is from one state to another, in which conditions we are going to transition from one state to another.
Okay. Then see those who are not responding, I'm consider them as a absent. Okay. Neil Roton, Neil Roton, are you there? Saidur,
Yes, sir.
yes. Can you tell me why we need transition graph?
It's basically a flowchart of algorithms, sir, to recognize and language.
What was that? Flowchart of
Algorithms, sir, to recognize and language.
flowchart of algorithm. Flowchart and algorithm both are same thing almost. The difference is the representation. In flowchart we are using diagrams. In algorithm we are using some statements. Both are same. That means their goal is same. The flowchart of a algorithm is not the correct answer. It is not relevant actually. Why we need transition graph? Transition graph is something else which is related to DFA. Shashank,
Hello, sir.
Yes. Can you tell me why we need transition graph?
So it can be interpreted as flowchart for algorithm.
What?
So it can be interpreted as a flowchart for an algorithm.
Flowchart of an algorithm. Yeah, actually, there's no
So,
yeah,
so it is also used to depict a DFS.
also used in DFA. নাই এক সেকেন্ড ভালো থাকা ইয়েস কি Tridip,
Yes, sir.
why we need transition graph? Tridip, লিখিব দিছে ঠিক আছে মই দি দিম বাৰু Wilson,
Yes, sir.
why we need transition graph?
Sir, to show how to go from some state to other, like based on readings.
Okay, so basically your response are somewhere near to the actual but the actual definition or actual need of transition graph is we are graph means what graphical representation. Don't get confused. Graph means you are using some using some drawings. So transition graph means we are defining something. It may be a execution of something, it may be a transition of something, it that means anything. We are expressing something, we are defining something using diagram or using graphical diagram. That's why in a screen what we do, GUI, graphical user interface. That means there are some graphics using which you are using some interface which is used by the user. That's why it's called graphical user interface. Similarly, we are using some graphical drawings to represent something. That's why it is called transition graph. Because why it is called transition graph? Because in this particular graph we are showing some transition. That means from A state to it will transmit to B, or B to C, or A to C, B to D, something like that. That's why it is called transition graph. Okay, that means to represent DFA, there are two major notation. That means when we are discussing about a DFA, deterministic finite automata, using which we are going to find out whether a particular string is accepted by this DFA or not, we can represent the particular DFA by using two notation. Like suppose when we are writing a program, before the program we need an algorithm and we need a flow chart. Then as I told you, algorithm and flow chart both are same in the sense of their goal is same. That means if you go to the flow chart, you will get, it will explain what are the steps we have to go through and what will be its results. Similarly, when you go to the algorithm, it will again show you what are the steps you have to go through and what will be its results. Okay, what will be its results? Class what will be its results? Okay, so similarly, when we are discussing about DFA, again we have two type of notation. Okay, one notation is known as the transition graph, which we have discussed yesterday. And what will be the next notation? The next notation is transition tables. That means the same thing can be represented in tabular form. That means in diagram also. Suppose let me share my screen. Suppose here we are expressing something using this diagram. That means suppose if I ask you, Onkomoni, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So is my screen is visible to you? The DFA graphs of. Hello.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Can you tell me the states of this particular DFA? What are the states available in this DFA?
Sir, final state A because it has double circle, then B also final state, and C is initial state, sir, because so গোটেই কেইটাতে initial হৈ আছে আৰু
No. This red arrow means previous strings okay does not end in a. They simply using the red arrow mark. It will simply highlight the lower portion. That means what is happening there. Start state is A because using this arrow mark it is mentioned that this is start state. So when I ask you what are the states available in this DFA, state A, state B, state C. My next question is what is the initial state or start state of this particular DFA?
A.
A, because it is indicated as a start state. Okay, then what are the final state? How many final states are there in a particular DFA?
A.
That means there are two final states. Okay, A, B. So how we can recognize them? Because there are two circles. If any states are indicates using two double circle, that means two circle, it is considered as a end state. What are the input symbols?
0 and 1.
0 and 1. That means from A to B or B to A or B to C or C to C itself or A to A itself, we have to go through either 0 or 1. That means you have to use either 0 or 1. Okay. But Onkomoni, can you tell me a valid string? That means that particular DFA may accept. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
I'm making it 0, 1, 1. Sir, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1.
0. Okay, can you explain how this DFA accept this?
Sir, for 0, A will go from A to A.
Okay.
And for A to B.
Yes, for 1 A to B. Then again
For 0 again B to A.
B to A. Yes.
Then again A to A. Then A to B.
A to A. Then again A to B. Okay, this string is accepted by a particular DFA. Any Sangling, are you there? Sangling. Sangling or Ling.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Now, I'm sharing a string in the chat box. Now, can you tell me whether the particular string is accepted by this DFA or not? The string is 0011.
Uh, no, sir.
0011.
No, sir. I'm not familiar with.
Yes? I'm not getting you. Accept होगा कि नहीं होगा by this DFA, this particular string? You can reply me in the chat box also if your audio is not clear. Similarly, David Remo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
David,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me whether the string is acceptable by this DFA or not? The string is 0011.
Sorry, sir. I couldn't hear better.
What?
I can't hear you properly, sir.
तो अब तक क्यों कुछ नहीं बोले?
Huh? जी, sir.
अब तक क्यों कुछ नहीं बोले? Sir, that I am not hearing you or something, your voice is not clear. So as I asked you some question, you are saying that you are not properly hearing me.
सर आपका आवाज बीच बीच में चला जाता है सर.
तो अब तुमको बोलना चाहिए ना. तुमने कभी बोला कि सर आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है? तो जब मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा तब तुमको याद आया कि मेरा आवाज सही नहीं है. Is my voice is breaking? Anyone else? Can you hear me properly? Zitul or anyone else? Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, sir. I'm able to hear you properly now.
So that means the problem at your end, David. Please ensure that your net connectivity or everything is good during the class. Jitul? Jitul?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Can you tell me whether the string is accepted by the particular DFA or not? The string is 0011.
No, sir.
Can you repeat?
It's not accepted, sir.
Can you explain why?
Sir, because in the after the final input, the
Can you go through the
is at
string?
the C.
Can you explain it one by one? That suppose from this input symbol, see this string the transition is start from A because A is the start state. So can you elaborate from this point?
Oh, okay, sir. After giving the first input 0,
Hmm.
stops at stays at the state A.
Hmm.
Then after getting another 0 as input, it will again stay at
It will, that means it
Okay,
will take a
then after getting
circular
input
transition.
1,
Uh,
yes sir. Then sir, after getting 1, it will move from state A to state B.
yes.
And then again getting another 1, it will get from B to C. But C is not our final state, hence the string is not accepted.
Okay, good. Is everything is clear to everyone? That means how you can find out whether a particular string is acceptable by the DFA or not. That means you have to start from the initial state which is indicated in the particular DFA. Then you have to process one by one. You have to process the input symbol one by one. Okay. Then when we come to the end of the string, if we are at the end state, that means the string is acceptable by the particular DFA. And like suppose like this case, if we are we reached the last digit of the string, but not able to reach the final state, that means this string is not acceptable by the DFA. Is it clear to everyone? You can give your response in the chat box. Is it clear to everyone? Because these things are very important. Okay, you have to be clear about it. You can give your response in the chat box. If it is clear, okay. So that means what is our prime objective of using DFA? Is my voice is clear to everyone? That means our prime objective is to, we have a string, we have to validate whether the string is acceptable by a DFA or not. Okay, and how we can validate? That means in DFA there is a start state and there is a end state. If we start our journey from the starting state and throughout the journey we are going to assess some string, and when we reach the end of the string, if we are able to reach the end state, then the particular string is valid or acceptable by this particular DFA. So let's consider a string called 0 1 0. Suppose, let's see whether this particular string is acceptable by this DFA or not. That A is our initial state, and what is our first input symbol? That is called 0. If we input 0 to the initial state, if we insert 0 in the transition function using the present state, what will be our next state? Using 0 from A, where I can move, it will take a circular loop and again come back to A. Okay, then what is our next input symbol? That is called 1. Using 1 we can travel from A to B. Okay, then what will be our next input symbol? It is called 0. Then using 0 again we can move from B to A. That means we are come to the end of the string 0 1 0. That means we can take a circular loop in A, then we move to B, then we again come back to A. Okay, and we complete the traversal of the string, and at the end we have to check whether we are able to reach the final state. Currently I am in state A, which is the initial state, but as the A is mentioned or written under double circle, that means A is also the final state. That means we are starting from the initial state, do the traversal of the string, and come to the end of the string and ends our journey at A. And A is the final state. That means this particular string is acceptable by the particular DFA. Okay, let's consider another example. Suppose 0 1 1. Now let's see again. We start our journey from A using an input symbol 0. We take a circular loop, then using 1 we go back to B, then again we have 1, then B to C, then we come to the end of the string. Did we able to reach the final state? No, because C is not the final state. Okay, C is not the final state. That means
Right.
this string is not acceptable by the particular. Okay, is it clear now? Saidur and Nilroton, I think. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Saidur, yes. Any more query? That means simple thing. You just remember what are the components you have to go through. You have a language first of all. Language define. Onkumoni doimari no means do you have any confusion? Onkumoni? Ah, no confusion. Okay. That means you have a language, you have some input symbol, you can define a string, you can draw some transition function, or sorry, transition graph. You have to validate some strings, and how you can validate? You have to traverse from one state to another using the input symbol or using the symbols available in the string, and if you are able to reach the final state, then the string is acceptable by this DFA. And this is one type of notation using which we can define or design some DFA, and it is a diagrammatical approach to represent DFA. That means using two approach or using two different way we can represent DFA. One is called transition graph, which is we are discussing right now, and the next is transition table. That means one is graphical way of representation, the next one is tabular form of representation. That means both are doing the same thing. Both are highlighted what is your present state. That means what is your initial state, what is your final state, what are the input symbols you have to use, what is your present state, what will be your next state after applying the transition function. Everything is explained in both the representation, but the only difference is that in one representation we are using some graphics, we are using some diagrams, and in the other representation we are using tables. Okay, for example, suppose this one, transition table. See here, this is the arrow mark indicates this is the initial state, and the star mark indicates this is the final state. The same. That means for this diagrammatical representation we can represent the same thing using tabular form. That means from A using 0 you can move to A. Yes or no? Yes. From A using 0, we can move to A. And from A using 1, we can move to B. From A using 1, we can move to B. Similarly, from B using 0, we can move to A. From B using 0, we can move to A. And from B using 1, we can move to C. From B using 1, we can move to C. And in case of C, using 0, both 0 and 1, we can only move to C itself. That means it's a self loop. That means the same thing is can be represented using diagram. Same thing can be represented using tabular form. Okay. Is it clear? Okay, we'll continue that transition table discussion the next class. Okay, that is tomorrow. And the Faculty of Engineering and Technology are planning to celebrate the Engineers Day by tomorrow in a large extent. Today there is a short meeting, but tomorrow there is a celebration. Due to some reasons, we are not able to celebrate today itself in a huge extent. So we are planning to celebrate tomorrow, and maybe we are on live in YouTube. So we are sharing the links to everyone so that you can also join virtually. You can see what we are celebrating, and because of that, maybe I'm not able to take the class. I'll inform you. If I'm able to, I'll definitely take the class. If not, I'm not able to take the class, I will do the class in the some other time. Okay, so I will inform you. But you have to go through this. What is transition graph? What is transition table? Do some examples. Take some examples from internet and try to explore them. Okay, so that some query should be arise, and we are discussing on this query so that your concept should be more clear about this. Okay, and in the transition table, here we are highlighting the input symbol, and where here we are highlighting the states, raw states, and these are the states which can be achieved after executing the transition function. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Till 14. Still no 100% attendance. 13 have joined. Okay, then our meeting will end in 5 minutes. So everyone, it's my request to everyone, go through the topics, go through the notes, search in Google, and try to clear your doubts. Okay, so thank you everyone.